Hi everyone, and welcome to my first podcast of 2026. And it seems appropriate to start with how should we start this year differently than all of those years that we were stuck in eating disorder hell. Now I hope you all managed to enjoy Christmas with all the challenges that might have thrown your way, and that you are all still motivated to keep your recovery on track. If you have found the Christmas period hard, then at a time when there's so much pressure to be the best version of yourself again, you might feel overwhelmed or like your recovery isn't working. Just remind yourself, recovery is working as long as every day you try to make decisions that move you forward. And some days you don't manage it, and there may have been some days over Christmas that you didn't manage it, but it's okay. You just get up and try again the next day, because there's no time limit. There's no date you have to be finally fully recovered. There's no perfect recovery. Just get up with the motivation to keep on track and keep that goal in sight. So, on to 2026. And of course, it has begun. The toxic messages about perfection and how to get your best body yet, your fittest body ever. Yep, we've all seen them, the adverts, the influencers. It's all over social media. It's everywhere. And apparently, unlike every other year that you've been told if you just restrict and exercise more, you will have the perfect body, this year's new ways are finally going to work. Well, excuse me if I don't believe it. I smell marketing aimed at vulnerable people who think that throwing money at what society says is a problem, a less than perfect body, will finally this year solve all of their problems. The New Year messaging is supposed to be inspirational, but for those with disordered eating or an eating disorder, or just poor body image, those messages are dangerous and depressing and just setting you up for failure. And I know from my own eating disorder that the temptations of a detox drink or a weight loss jab will feel so much more tempting right now than facing the path of recovery, which is really hard. But just keep in mind that firstly, it won't work, and secondly, you're not just on a path to recovery, you're actually on a path to freedom, which is so much more valuable if you put that hard work in. So while everyone else is prioritising a new workout or a new intermittent fast, remember your job is to prioritise your recovery, your progress, your values, and your mental and physical health. And if there is still any temptation in your mind, even just a sliver, I want to remind you why what you are being sold is not right for you. Well, thin is back. It's never really gone away, of course, we just have slightly different versions of thin. But remember, if we were all meant to be thin, we would all be thin. It's that simple. Just like if we were all meant to be tall, we would all be tall. So while those you see on social media or on TV might make it look glamorous and easy to be thin, just ask yourself what's going on behind those images. Because not even all influencers were born to be thin. And you're not seeing the restriction, the disordered eating, the punishing workouts, and the unhappiness that many of them might be going through just to be able to sell a product. And let's also remember that no matter how much scientific research they claim has gone into what they are selling, history shows us that people who lose weight gain it back whenever they stop the latest fad or the latest diet, because dieting does not work for 95% of people. And I expect this year is probably going to be the best year yet for makers of the weight loss injections, because of course word is spreading, Hollywood stars have jumped on board. But remember, let's look at what the figures actually tell us. Across both of the leading weight loss jabs, patients typically regain up to 66% of the weight they have lost within 1 year of stopping the injections. And that regain is generally rapid within the first year after they stop. And guess who that is great news for? Well, for the people who sell the weight loss jab. Because, yes, you've bought into the endless cycle. The weight loss, feeling great, weight gain, feeling bad, spend more money, try again, and so it goes on. So the question is, do they really want you to lose weight, or do they really just want to keep taking your money? Because if it worked the first time, if people didn't regain the weight, then they would go out of business. And also, please remember when you're tempted, how it feels when you are constantly striving for something you never reach. If you've had an eating disorder or disordered eating, just remember that obsession with food when you're told you cannot or should not have it. Remember the missing out on the social events, that preoccupation with your body. You know the extreme behaviours that are required to endlessly get thinner, that are damaging not just your health but your soul. It is a very bleak place to be. So, do you really want to go back to that just to look like images you see around you? Because I don't. So my advice is to choose peace and happiness and confidence in your own skin and just let others choose their own path. Because you don't need to be like anyone else to be worthy. Not your body, not your job, not where you live, not what you like. You are more than enough as you are. So if you're going to follow any resolution this year, maybe it is that you remind yourself of that. And if you do feel inspired because it's the start of a new year to make changes, then let those changes be things that are going to support your recovery. And let's remember the first goal, of course, is to keep doing the things you've been doing so far to support your recovery. Eating without restriction, honouring your hunger, and teaching your brain that food is not scary. 2026 is a year for finally taking back your power from your eating disorder and showing it that there is a new boss in town. And if there are things you're struggling with in recovery, maybe there are still certain fear foods you've not been able to challenge, or you're still not managing to let go full control around calories or portion sizes, think of ways you can face those fears to move you on in your recovery. And if you're stuck, then reach out for help and guidance. And set goals that have nothing to do with diet or punishing your body, because there's so much more that you can do in 2026 that will bring you joy and happiness and not misery and pain. Your eating disorder will have already taken so much from you in terms of time and quality of life. So think about the things that you've now got time for and things that will bring you joy or fun or a sense of achievement. And the good thing about the internet is now it makes it so easy to find things to do and to find like-minded communities in your area. So maybe push yourself out of your comfort zone, try and make some new friends, try and do new things, because the worst that can happen is you choose something you don't like and, well, then you just choose something else. And of course it is fine for some of your goals to be health focused, but remember, health is not restriction and punishment, it's healthy movement and nourishment. You can be perfectly healthy in a bigger body. You look for movement that is fun and social and not about reducing the size of your waist. Because we all focus so much on our body size as being the only way to get healthy, and we forget about other things. So maybe this year you're going to make sure you rest enough, you sleep enough, you relax enough. All of those are things that are so valuable for your physical and mental health. And maybe this year, by going against the grain with your New Year's resolutions, maybe by finally accepting your body and choosing freedom, well, you might inspire others who are fed up with the endless cycle of misery but have not felt brave enough to say so. Because as humans, we often feel we need permission to do things differently than everyone else, or we have to apologise for not looking like everyone else or wanting the same things as everyone else. So maybe you being that example will give someone else who's suffering the permission to just be who they want to be. So my advice as we get to the end of this episode, don't let the noise of New Year sabotage your recovery or your self-worth. Stay grounded, keep eating in abundance, and prioritise your health above everything. And I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I will be, of course, making more episodes through 2026. So thank you to everyone who's listened. And if anyone needs any help or support, then please do reach out or find me on my website.